So I heard someone confused about why everyone around the world who looks like me does not consider themselves black. Many people around the world aren't ethnically black, and they're talking about ethnicity. I don't even think they realize that they're speaking about ethnically black. They're not ethnically black. We're ethnically black. Black Americans are ethnically black. So yeah, they're right when they say they're not black. Now, racially, they may be, but ethnically, they're not. Okay. So, and this is something that's been in school. They don't really teach about racial and ethnic. They don't really teach that. So, but yeah, someone who looks like me um, can be racially black. We're both racially black, but I'm the one that's ethnically black. Me. So I'm both. Right. Someone can be racially black and Igbo, like my cousin. Okay. He's racially black, um, but he's ethnically Igbo. See how that works? Um, and then some may say, well, how are we cousins? The same way I can be a cousin to someone in the Caribbean, and we're of two different ethnicities, right? Because the transatlantic slave trade did a doozy, right? So you have to know history and understand history to understand that. Okay, so for everybody who's still confused about this ongoing thing, um, yeah, Black Americans, African Americans, um, Afro Americans, the ones who were enslaved in the United States of America, um, were ethnically black. Okay, now some people around the globe understand this very well. Um, there was a Nigerian writer who understood this very well, and she wrote a whole article about it. Okay, once she came to America and she um, learned it, she was like, oh, because she was looking at racially. She totally missed the ethnic part of it, and so that's how she was like, oh, okay, and then she was okay. Black is an ethnicity, also for Black Americans. So she was like, just like Zulu is an ethnicity, or Igbo is. So she wrote about it. So um, again, when talking about Black Americans, aka African Americans, Afro Americans, and another thing that confuses people, try not to when you're really interested in Black America, please do not read about it through a white lens because it's going to get all messed up. You're going to get all messed up and confused. It's just like if I was to go back and read history, a lot of things written about Africa um, in literature would be totally wrong because they were written by Europeans. A lot of the stuff is wrong. Like what? Like there was a point where they called everybody Ethiopians, including us over here. Everybody, and that was it. There was nothing else. That they didn't distinguish everybody Ethiopian. That's it. See, and then if you go and ask someone way back centuries ago, what are they? They say who they were. Okay, but you have to really you have to be careful about saying, oh, but in the but no, that's wrong. That's how they wrote about someone. It's just like they would call us names. Just because you call me a name because you hate me does not mean that's me. So you have to be really particular about what you look at and what you read and how you interpret it, and also see who is writing it, and then you want to backpedal and see if that's the exact same thing um, black historians and black scholars, because we have black historians and black scholars, Carter G. Woodson, the list goes on and on, um, to see if that was, we have publishers and publications way back in the 1700s, okay, that are black American. And you have to see that this is what we, because we've always been African American, black American, um, um, Afro American. That's what we called ourselves in our own papers. However, when they called us something, they called us what they wanted to call us, and that was it. We had to fight for these official recognitions for our people. So, even though we within ourselves called ourselves this, okay, they simply were not going to respect us enough to do the same. So you really do have to, when you learn about the United States of America, you have to learn maybe even three things. There are two different histories. One is real bias, um, and the other one's just gonna tell it like it is. Okay, so yeah. But as far as um, don't be confused. Don't be confused by it, everybody, because it's simple. Don't make it complex. Black ethnicity and race are two different things. The best way to talk about it is to say Africa and the African diaspora. Africa has a bunch of ethnicities, and the African diaspora has a bunch of ethnicities. One of those ethnicities, some of those ethnicities are in the African diaspora. They are African American, Afro Latina. See what I'm saying? And a lot of the ones in the diaspora are compound worded. In in um in Africa, many of the original um ethnicities are not compound worded. And I think this is what confuses a lot of people too. The ethnicities in the diaspora that were formed out of the slave trade, after the slave trade, which is called ethnogenesis, many of them are compound worded. Okay? So that's that. But when they say they're not black, whether they realize it or not, they're saying ethnically I'm not black. That's what they're saying. And they're taking into account their history, their culture, their language, their who they are as a being, what they believe, their perspective. They're not black by that instance. But if they're saying they're not racially black and they look like me, they might not know what they're talking about. Might have to break it down for them. Oh, and another thing, because it's an ethnicity, you have to know, if you're gonna talk about African American, the African American ethnicity, the black American ethnicity, you have to know history or you're gonna get it wrong. Okay, you're gonna get it wrong. So probably won't stay in your lane because you're probably gonna get it really wrong, really wrong. All right, there you go.